Today, I am here with Kyle Ferguson of the Battleborn Fund, and we're going to jump into all sorts of things, but a lot of it will be him and I talking about the fund, how they're deploying currently 39 million and are very actively looking for deal flow. And then we'll do some Q&A as well, but wide open. Please ask questions. We'll be able to have it on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, YouTube, I think, and then directly here on Riverside and Build Cities. So drop any questions in, and if you don't have any questions, you'll just have to put up with Kyle and I talking about venture deals, Nevada, and money. So it could be worse, I guess. But Kyle, good to have you here, man.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me, Nick.
Yeah. Do you want to? Angela's popping in too. Awesome. This is one of my
There you go.
co-founders on Build. Hey, Angela.
Hey Nick. Hey, Kyle.
Wasn't sure if you're gonna
Angelo,
make it
good to
on,
see
man.
you.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
good to see you too.
Well, Kyle, do we want to just dive in and like have you drive on the deck a little bit? Maybe I can be the guy who asks questions randomly and might
Sure.
even interrupt the deck a little.
No, that's great. No, I think the deck will just kind of be a guidance for us, and I'll just kind of talk through the program and where we're at and what we're trying to do, and feel free to interrupt or ask questions, or if we need more clarification, just let me know.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah. I think what's important is kind of just kind of explain the program and what the intent behind Battleborn, the Nevada state backed program is. So I'll give you guys kind of an overview of what it is, how it works, you know, who can apply for it, and kind of the main points, which is like what the lead investor looks like and how we structure these deals. So just to kind of walk through it a little bit, technically Battleborn Venture, which is the state and treasury backed program by SSBCI, is the largest venture capital program in the state of Nevada. To date, since we've been going, we've done 118 venture capital investments. And the way that's structured, and I think the importance of the program is, out of that 118 deals that we've done, roughly about 25% of them are follow-on investment deals. So not only are we venture capital infusion, for companies that are coming to or are within the state of Nevada, is that if you're hitting your KPIs and you're growing, we want to be a part of every round as well. So, the goal is to be as supportive of Nevada-based businesses that we can. And we do think it's a lack by, some, maybe angel or venture capital groups that it's just kind of one and done. Whereas, some of these were on our, last week we just made our third investment into a company. So that's, it's very important. We average about 2 to 3 deals per month. This last 24 months, it's averaged about 3 deals per month, which is a lot of venture capital deals. But I think it kind of just speaks to the aggressiveness of us partnering with other venture capital firms and looking at 10 plus deals a month to make sure that we're putting that capital work within the state. Just a quick overview. It is technically backed by Treasury. It is Nevada's venture capital program, federally funded by the SSBCI program. We look at all verticals and industries. So there's not anything specific that we're going to. However, if you're have a business that's going to grow jobs within the state, or you're going to do buildings, or you're going to bring in smart engineers or bring your workforce here, all of that is extremely attractive to us, and something that for the most part we want to back. We do have an investment committee that is for volunteers from the state. That investment committee is made up of other entrepreneurs, state official, university professors. So the investment committee is really kind of comes at it from a broader look of like, what's this business, do, and how's it benefit to the state, to university spinoffs. Some of the a lot of the companies we've invested in are individuals that have came up with this idea at the university. The university has backed it, and it's time to go mainstream and roll out into the public. And we're going to put capital behind those. Like we want to be supportive of university spinoff programs. And so, it's important to building that full kind of entrepreneurial ecosystem that starts at the university and goes all the way to, companies moving to the state that, just want to get exposure to the state and what it has to offer.
Hey, do you guys do any like tech transfer from the national labs as well? Because I know that's another big space that people have been paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll look at all of those that are coming in, that are transferring from the state, especially on the tech side. We're making a push kind of into the deep tech. So these bigger companies, or not necessarily bigger, but more advanced companies with a bigger idea that's going to take a little bit more support. We're highly interested in those as well.
Okay.
Okay. There's not a whole lot that kicks someone out from us taking a look at their company. So this is just kind of a quick overview. Is we do want the company to have some revenue generation. There is a chance that if you are close to generating revenue, that we'll take a look at it. But for the most part, we want a company that's someone on the other side of the table has raised their hand and said, "I'm interested in that product. I would like to buy it." um, an investment from the state is going to just accelerate more people buying this product. So revenue is important. The Nevada ties, like, this is the big one. So it's a Nevada registered company. You can be a Delaware court, but as long as you're licensed in the state and have a physical address and presence in the state, and the money that we provide to the company is actually going to be utilized in Nevada. So that can be utilized from, hey, we're coming to the state. We've got a spot picked out. We can use this money to get us to the state. We've already got a lead investor. To, hey, I need some money to hire some interns out of the university, or bring my engineering team here, or buy this building. So as long as we can point to that the funds that we're giving the company is being utilized within the state of Nevada, that's what matters. The other thing too, which it happens more often than not, is it needs to be a C or an S corp. No LLCs. We need to be able to get some form of equity ownership, through this structure. So a lot of companies are LLCs, and we just say, hey, go through the process of converting over to an S or C corp. And for us to actually fund the deal, it will need to be an S or C corp.
Nice.
Restricted industries, gaming, cannabis, firearms. That's really about it. And kind of models that we can't invest in. And these are all Treasury guidelines. This is not the state of Nevada. This is what Treasury's saying that we can and can't do. We can't give you money to go buy an apartment complex. We can't give you, $1 million to invest it on your, day trading
Right.
strategy. No sales, and we can't give you money to lend out to others. So really, I run into that very little. Most companies don't fall within those categories, but I think it's worth mentioning. There are a few industries. Okay. All right. So just kind of give you an idea on our deal sizes and what we're looking at. It's really $200,000 to $20 million rounds. I would say that most of the companies that are kind of hitting that growth stage, they're looking at least for 500,000 to do that. But I will look at smaller rounds, especially out of the universities and what, some people need $250,000 just to, go land a spot or whatnot. Of course, we'll look at those. We are capped at $20 million rounds. And again, this is a Treasury deal. Is Treasury wants us focusing on small to mid-sized companies. They don't want us, giving NVIDIA more money than, what they already have, or, whatever it may be. So we are capped at 20 million. Our typical investment size that we do is, I'll give you an example. If someone's raising, $1 million for their startup, we'll go into that for about half. So up to $1 million for something like that. Our average investment is around 750,000 that we're putting into companies. Again, just to kind of, an asterisk is we don't lead. So we're not going to be the lead investor, and we don't close rounds. So there typically needs to be a minimum of 2 additional investors outside of what we're doing. So, the lead comes in, we come in behind the lead, and someone else is coming in with a, some amount. Doesn't have to match the lead or be a large amount by any means, but someone's closing that round. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we do follow on investments. If you're doing your part as a company and you're growing, we want to be a part of that. So, we will look to go into, every round that you're doing. The only thing is we have to have 6 months in between the rounds and the investments that we're making. Okay.
Okay.
Good
And
deal.
with you mentioned too, coming in at even pre-revenue is fine, but
Yeah.
there has to be a strong indicator of a buyer. There has to be an LOI. There has to be
Yep.
something that's real. It can't be, hey, we think the market's ready for us. There's, the 0 to 1 path is very clear.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great point, Nick. So I need to verify that revenue is on the horizon, right? Through a signed contract, because I have plenty of examples where companies come to me and say, we need this investment to scale manufacturing to deliver on this contract. That's a good use of funds in our case. So yeah, it's something not just like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this one thing and it may or may not make, sense. So yeah, something that in the very near future, revenue is going to start. Okay. So deal structure, and kind of like what this looks like. This is equity, right? We are taking from the venture capital. We are taking equity that can come in the form of like a stock purchase agreement. That can come in the form of a convertible note, or commonly used as we come in through safes, right? Simple agreements for future equity. All three of those, we do all three of them. There's really not preference. This kind of goes back to what the lead's comfortable with, right? And I'll talk about the lead and the importance of the lead here in a minute. But whatever they're saying, yeah, the safe agreement is appropriate for this stage of the company, then that's exactly the same terms that we come in at. We don't do debt, or we don't invest in other funds or SPV participation. Some companies come to us and say, hey, our lead's got a fund. Will you invest in the fund? No, we are coming in separately. We are getting our own equity position. We're not looking to be a GP or an LP of anyone else's fund. And then, the final thing is we do from time to time do a bridge round, like a bridge round to the Series A. We will look at that depending on the size, but we prefer full rounds, like a full investment round coming forward. What we try to avoid is like, hey, we need an extra 500,000 to get to this point. We're not your bridge loan guys, right? So we prefer a full equity round that's being presented, and we take a look.
And you won't do a bridge solo either. Like, it still needs to be everyone's coming in. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah, so it's just a professionally structured round that you guys are going out for, or the company is going out for. That's what we're interested in.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here. Oop, did I lose my thing? Next up, so the co-investment, I mentioned it. We don't lead, we don't close, so we like to have 2 additional partners. I want to spend just a little time on what it means to get a lead, because currently right now we have 20 deals that are in the pipeline. The thing that holds those deals up is the lack of a lead investor. So for us, at Battleborn, in order for us to do 3 equity deals per month, we have to have really strong investors. So if Nick is the lead investor, I'm really leaning into Nick to say, you understand what this company's doing. You understand this vertical or this industry. Tell me why this is a good investment. And then if it all lines up and the company checks the boxes of being a Nevada-based business or growth in Nevada, then I'm interested. So I really lean into the leads. I have a conversation with the lead investor. I'm not pushing on the lead investor, questioning their decisions or anything. I just want to better understand what the opportunity is. And like to that point, because we've done 118 deals, we do have a really strong network of venture capital groups and angel investors that we work with. So we get a lot of repeat investor from venture capital firms that have co-invested with us, and then they come back to us and say, hey, I actually have another company that's coming to the state. Would you be interested? And if we've had a successful transaction and that company that we co-invested with has done well, then absolutely. So we have just as important for us building this entrepreneurship network where companies are coming to us for capital, we want other venture capital companies coming to us, because it's not, we don't view it as competition. It's like, this is a relationship, it's a partnership with these firms that we want to co-invest alongside with them, because it grows those companies within the state. And then, lastly, again, it's just a 6-month minimum between my investments. The other thing I'll say on the lead, and I think it's really important for everyone to understand, is that companies come to us. They've let's say they've done a seed round, and they've had that seed round open for 8 months, and the lead came in 6 months ago, and they still have that round open. I need to co-invest with the lead as they're making their investment. So the advice I would give out to the companies that are watching this is, it's never too soon to reach out to me and to put an application in, because we want to go through that raise process with you. We want, as the lead is doing their due diligence, we want to do that, because the reality of, from the time the lead came in 6 months ago to when we are coming in, a lot can change, right? Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. So we would rather do that in parallel with the lead as they're doing their investment. The lead also, it's a meaningful commitment, which just means they're a professional group, right? They're a professional venture capital, or they can show that they've made other investments. We're not going to follow Uncle Bob as a lead who took $200,000 out of his 401k to put it in the company. We need someone that we can really lean into. They're coming in either through a professional investment, like they have a business that does this, or they have an SPV. So a lot of groups will have angel investors that will come in and they'll create an SPV for this specific investor. I can follow that, right? That's a legitimate. I can point to other deals that they've done. And then again, anything that the lead comes in and gets, we just get the exact same terms. Like, there's no negotiations or anything like that. If Nick is the lead investor, gets 5%, we're getting 5%, and it's pretty cut and dry. And then I just, as you guys as companies raise this money and talk to leads, I just need to see their due diligence, because again, I'm really leaning into their expertise. Okay. Any questions on the leads, Nick? I mean, it's just, that's the most important part, I think, is just having a good, solid, qualified lead.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say as a question or comment would be making sure we define that application process. When you say it's never too early to apply,
Yeah,
I'm assuming you don't want people applying when it's ideation stage. You want someone applying when it's a real meaning like the company's up and running. You've got a team, you've been building something, you're past that friends and family, and maybe you're thinking about your first seed raise, but you've committed to building this thing. And you're going to build it in Nevada, go apply. And you may never invest, but at least now there's a relationship.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like the next steps. I got a slide on next steps. And it's really just like, once you start to think about raising a round, I know it always takes longer than people anticipate it taking. Put that application in, because especially, we're fortunate that we have really good deal flow at the state of Nevada. And I can only present 3 deals per month. That's kind of my max. So when I get 5 deals that come to me and say, hey, we all need to close here in the next 30 days, I have to point back to when that application was filed. And I'd be like, okay, Bob put his application in 6 months ago, whereas this other guy that wants to close just put it in a month ago. So put it in, it doesn't expire. It's just be on the safer side.
Kyle, if you're cool with it, I'm going to take over the screen for 1 second and then jump back to you. But one of the things that's going to show here is if people go to Build Cities on the platform for the Build Nevada Network, you can see the different members, the projects and people are listing inside of the Build Nevada Network. And then you can also see the challenges, which we can talk about a little bit later, of the specific types of deal flow that you're really looking for, library of different kind of content. There's some pitches in here, different events like this one that's going on right now, any updates on the platform for the live stream, etc. But here on this link, I actually linked the application. You can see the little link. If you click it, it'll open up to the application.
Yep.
And so you can then click straight through, you fill it out. So it's a quick way to do it, or you can go to the Battleborn website. Either one is completely acceptable. I thought I'd jump in there and show people where they could find the application.
Great. Okay, I will jump back in here. Okay, so again, we've kind of touched on all this already, but I have more slides on the lead because that's the thing that holds these deals up, is just really getting those qualified leads. So I think we've covered most of this. Just make sure that lead has recently funded, and then we do have proof of funding. Like the way that we verify that this lead came in is you send us your wire confirmations that the money's in. That's our trigger to fund. And I'll talk about that process just a little bit for us. Is that the way it works is, to what Nick just said, apply online. That can happen today, even if you're thinking about it, right? Secure your lead investor. And then once that happens, me and you being the company, we'll have a conversation about what this round looks like. What you guys are thinking about using the money for. And then I send you what's called an investment justification summary. This is 12 questions that every company knows the answers to. My advice, though, and I'd help you with this, is do a really good job on this document, because this is the only document that the Nevada Investment Committee looks at. They're not going to verify your websites or your contracts or your financials. I will do all that, but I just say, take the weekend, take a day and a half and really just, put all your knowledge on your company into this investment justification summary, because that's what gives the investment committee kind of the comfort and the overview. And then once that's complete and I've gotten the due diligence, then it averages out as about the third Friday of every month. I take it to the investment committee. We spend a morning just going through the three companies. I present the case. About 75% of my presentation is on you as a company and how this benefits the state. And about 25% of the presentation is on the venture capital firm that we're co-investing with, or the angel network, or the SPV, and saying, this is why, I believe this is a good investment, not only on the company and what they've provided, but these are really smart guys behind them that are taking the lead as an investor. So, so that's really it. That's the program. That's the Battleborn Venture Program. Like I said, we're aggressive. We want to do deals within the state. I look at everything. Once we do make an investment, we try and introduce you to any of our other portfolio companies or state officials or whoever it may be that benefits you, that we have contacts within the state. I love our portfolio companies working together within the state. If your company provides a service that another company we invested in that can benefit from, I'll make introductions all day long. So that's kind of the program in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions.
That's great. I know we have a handful of people on here, and I was getting some feedback that they were having a hard time seeing the live stream. I know it's live on X, Facebook, and YouTube, but apparently the other live stream for Riverside directly was having a hard time. But I know we're recording, and I know we have it, so we'll put it out again later and put it in the library for the platform. But for anybody who's on here right now, do you have any questions that are specific that you'd like to ask Kyle directly? Either you can drop them in the chat, or if you're on the stream, you can even come off mute and feel free to ask directly, and that would be totally okay as well. But I guess while we're waiting, if there's any, Tristan's got a question there, or actually a comment, which is lovely. It's super califragilisticexpialidociously helpful, which is I agree. On the Kyle, on the capital that you guys are putting out, you have 39 million in this tranche. There's likely going to be another bucket that follows it as well.
Yes.
And so this is, you were saying, I think up to 20 million, right, is the check size. So, I mean, you're talking like you can scale a unicorn if you had to in like a multi-billion-dollar company in Nevada, and you can participate in that. This isn't a angel seed fund. This is a let's go. We'll see it 200K. We'll see it 20 million.
Yep, that's correct. We've written checks at 50,000. We've written checks at 2 million. We had just capped at that $20 million round size, which is for Nevada is a really good round size. Like there's multi-$100 million companies that are going to raise 20 million, and we've been able to participate in those. And
so you can not $20 million check, but you can do up to
20 million. Yeah, our checks, biggest checks we have written are around the 2 million range.
Cool.
That's with the 40 million that we have currently like to deploy. That's an appropriate amount, of that. Those are, maybe one or two a year on that size. That's where we kind of average about that $750,000 check size. So the other thing I'll say too, and I think it's important, is if I've had conversations with you and your company and it looks like it's an attractive investment for us, we can point to job growth or buildings or, hiring within the state. I'll potentially write a conditional commitment letter that says, hey, once you show this to your network of leads, and all it's saying, it's not a guarantee, but it's like, hey, if you invest, the state of Nevada will take a serious look at being a co-investor with you. So we've had a lot of companies utilize that letter to give some security and some confidence. Yeah. So.
Well, and not just for the investors to have that confidence that there's a group that can cut that size of check, but also to have that wraparound service. And for a founder, what a boost, man. Just to get that basically an LOI of someone saying, look, we're here to take this serious with you. Because a lot of times that's a hard part as a founder. Angelo, absolutely. I saw you come on screen. Were you going to ask something, Angelo? You can come back if you want to.
Hey, yeah, so I had to jump away for a second. I was going to kind of follow up. I don't know if you answered Tristan's questions, but companies that I was going to ask the same thing. I don't know if you're able to mention specific companies, but ones you're excited about now in Nevada, and then maybe if you aren't able to ask about or answer about specific companies, then just general sectors that you think Nevada is uniquely accommodated for that you might not see in any other states, whether that be certain resources available. I know mining is a pretty big industry. I mean, there's several that I'm just, would love to kind of see your 30,000 foot scope.
Yeah. Like in the beginning, I said, we don't particularly have a specific industry that we care about, but there are industries that are extremely interesting to us. Right. So, anything that involves power, electricity, and batteries, storage is extremely interesting to us. I know, Tristan's highly involved in that. So we have a lot of interest from companies like that. The manufacturing and the space is here, the lithium's here, the workforce is here for it, right? So that's something that Nevada has really changed over, I'd say, the last 8 to 10 years. Is a lot of companies couldn't come here because they couldn't get the workforce. So like in the energy space, in the battery space, there's now been created a workforce that can go, from one company to another. Companies that have access to government contracts that are supporting, the Department of Defense or the Department of Energy, those are very attractive companies to us. Anything really, I mean, everyone on this call knows that there's this large push for AI and data centers. Nevada's trying to be at the forefront of that. So services that are supporting the data centers or supporting AI, like that's big for us. Manufacturing, always. I mean, if you're manufacturing, and we have a ton coming from California that are moving over, that if they want to build up manufacturing facilities, like we just, we're close to closing one that's coming to Carson City. And, it's not they will be big, but, they're securing a 10,000 square foot location. Their entire team is moving from California to Nevada to build out that location. That's great for us. So we really, government supported contracts are great. We have a lot in the education tech as well. Like there's a lot of I know there's a kind of this fine line currently between software and AI generated, companies and whatnot. But, depending on what you're focused on, like we just did a ed tech company that helps, special education kids and, with disabilities. Their pilot is throughout the state of Nevada in the rural counties. Like I want to build out I want to build out the rural communities of Nevada as much as I want to build out Las Vegas and Reno and Carson City and whatnot. So if you've got a company that needs more space, that's going to go to Fernley or Fallon or Elko or Tonopah. We did a space technologies company in Tonopah that has potential to be the biggest employer in Tonopah within the next 5 years, outside, ahead of what the mining community is. So all that kind of stuff, we'll take a look at all of it.
That's awesome.
I
I know Charles has.
Yeah,
I had one more follow up to that. I was curious. So there's about 78%. I think it was something like 78% of the major reincorporations from Delaware have been in Nevada, which is like aggregate trillions in value, which is awesome. What is it unique about the incorporation laws for Nevada that's attracting that like volume? If you could explain a little bit more about that.
I'll point to the Andreessen Horowitz article that they sent out, 3-4 months ago that says go to Nevada. Basically, it's just much more business friendly terms in terms of being incorporated within the state. I feel like they've made the process to incorporate within Nevada and to register here much easier. I think there was, not to get too deep into this conversation, but Delaware raising their hand against Elon Musk and founding shares and all that, last year, that gave some of these bigger companies, that's something that most likely, a company I start, I'm not going to have to worry about that if I'm incorporated in Delaware. However, the size of companies that are shifting their their incorporation or registration to the state, that's a concern for them. They don't, it's not Nevada's job to have an opinion on who's getting paid out and who's not. So that was, I believe that was a triggering moment. And this, again, the state has done a good job preparing for that today. It's business friendly and it's ready to take, companies that have been around for however long, take their registration, and then that in reverse gets access to programs like this, pretty instantaneously, and we can draw a line that's supporting the state.
When I think to Kyle, I mean, you guys picked up Ben Horowitz. He's now living in Vegas.
Yep.
And you're getting more and more of these big hitters from the Bay that probably, one, feel exactly what you said, but two, are seeing, the 9-9 looming, or that's the Washington one, and then the other taxes that they're like, I don't know if I really want to continue to go down that drain. And Nevada as a template is really a freedom state. And I've been really impressed with that for a lot of reasons. I went out and visited the Gigafactory and was blown away about what they were able to accomplish in such a short period of time. Richard, before we get to Charles's question, Richard had one here that I want to jump on.
Sure.
And it was, I noticed that many of the submitted projects are asking for specific skill sets that others, such as myself, would be interested in assisting. How do we offer our expertise to other projects? I will run you through that really quick and show. So give it 1 second and I will walk you through on a live stream to show you how you can assist. So if you go to projects on Build Nevada Network, you'll see the ones that have been submitted here. If you go to the challenges, you'll also see specific ones that are submitted under the challenges. Like here, you'll see there are 3. If you want to submit a project to the Industrial AI Infrastructure Challenge, all you do is click Submit a Project. All of your projects show up. It's pretty clean, quick, and easy. But let's say you look at this one of, there was one I thought was an interesting one on the metals. Let me find that one, wherever that went. It was like advanced manufacturing now. This molecular fertilizer one. This is an interesting one. Stamera Crop Science, they developed a molecular fertilizer. They're in California. I think they're looking at leaving. But say they need governance, real estate, legal, or operations. And just for an example, let's say, Richard, you're like, man, I am a legend at real estate relocation. This group's seeking roughly $500K for development capital. So you could say here, if you type a comment here, Richard, it sends an email to Anthony Stonefield. So all you have to do is just drop the comment here and say, if you want to tag Anthony as well, you can, but he'll already get it because he owns it. You say, hey, Anthony, I have, legal skills that you might need, and then add comment, and that would then alert him specifically. You can also see updates that Anthony's making on the company here. So there's a whole thread once a week. If you have a project on the platform, you will be receiving a weekly email that asks you what'd you get done this week, and so it's a nice way to keep a little registry. Coming up soon, you'll also be able to upload decks, videos, other things to your projects as well. But for now, that's the best way to contact them. We have direct messaging on the horizon as well, that we'll be able to send the direct message to Anthony. But in the meantime, that's the most effective way.
Sure.
And if you want to look at other projects, by the way, you can, from your homepage, look at all the different communities. But if you go to Reno, you can see other projects going on, other communities. If you go to projects in general, you can see there's 202 different startups on here that range from Agent Forge, Circle Presence. This one's down in Austin. You could filter them if you wanted to look at different approaches. Someone built a Grand Theft Auto for a whole city, which is incredible. It's hilarious. It's a video game of just people in their town interacting with each other. But yeah, this is an AI company out of the Bay. You're always welcome to take a peek at other people's projects. Let me come back to the studio. All right. Charles, you had your hand up.
Thank you.
Ready, aim, fire. Go for
it. Great. I wanted to determine your interest in healthcare. We've got a platform that basically will provide clinic services in rural and underserved areas where the present solutions in the market just don't fill that gap. And it's comprised of a robotic smart clinic that provides a virtual complete clinic service. And once we get that into the market, we'll need drivers to drive around the rural areas where people need health care. And we'll need a clinic or a hospital to provide the medical services. So it'll be a big expansion of labor, both skilled and low skilled, that would basically improve healthcare for a population that right now has very bad chronic illnesses, very bad readmissions at hospitals. Hospitals are having really bad penalties for those readmissions. So we're at the stage where we have a pre-production unit in final testing, and we're looking for a seed round to basically conduct a pilot, and then from there, with additional funds, launch into the market in a big way.
Charles, real quick. Oh, go ahead, Kyle. I was going to throw out, if you hadn't filled out the application, I would say that's the first thing. Is like, it sounds like
I was just going to use it as an example of like, this is the process, right? And many companies are at this stage. So the first thing you do, Charles, is you go fill out the application. That puts it on my radar, right? I will say in short, is that healthcare. We're in multiple healthcare companies, so that's a high interest. So this would be the part where you put in the application. I'll reach out with I'll give you this checklist that we had gone over, and then once you have a lead that is also interested, that's when I really start to engage with it. So it's a good question. It's a perfect example of the process starts now for you, Charles, in terms of putting your application.
Super.
Yep. And Charles, what I would suggest too is at this stage, if you wanted to put your project on Build, it's in that network. The other thing there is, the NEMT and the rural health space is exploding right now. I've been working on this for about a year and a half around the rural health transformation, which is that $50 billion investment into rural America, and have been working with multiple states on that allocation. And so I understand how the Catalyst funds work as well, which can be sidecar funds that support non-dilutive funding up to $3 million per company per state. And then Kyle's side can be a dilutive side to really help scale it up. And Nevada does have those funds. And so I think there's a way to kind of braid the SSBCI and the RHT funds that really supports a scale up. So reason why I would say put it on there, there are folks that I would love to introduce you to that I can just tag on the Build platform, and that way they can connect directly to you. And then you'd get emails that way as well.
Super. I will be sure to follow up on that. Thank you, Nick. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yeah, you bet. You bet.
Anthony, did you have something? I saw you came on camera. If you got a question, feel free to let it rip, man.
No question. I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm here with Charlie. I'm doing a lot of outreach and marketing for the team here. So
Cool.
I am also a local business owner here in Las Vegas. So if anything comes your way, or if you guys want to meet in person, I'm out here. I have a couple programs that are on the Build site, and I plan to put on a little bit more. But I do outreach and other things for other small founders and startups as well. So. Looking
Right on,
forward
Anthony.
to seeing you guys more often.
This is great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I know Richard had a question, Angelo, that I think you'd probably be most. Oh, somebody's echoing back. I'm not sure. It might be, who knows. But I know, Richard, you had a question about submitting or your project on more than one challenge. I don't know if you can, but I'll make sure that that's a feature. If you can't yet, we'll talk that through and make it happen. This is great. I don't know if there are any other questions, but I'll leave it open for a few more seconds if people want to drop any more in, and then we'll bounce it back to Kyle to kind of hammer on, any more closing thoughts. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll just kind of share too, as you guys think, if there's any other questions, like put my email down here that's on the screen. If you guys think of questions, or as you guys go through, obviously, Nick and Build is a huge partnership for us, and they've got lots of resources that we have our companies lean into. So, but if you have specific questions on us, feel free to reach out or reach out to Nick, and we can kind of coordinate. Again, my closing thoughts are really just as Nevadans and kind of what Build's doing, what we're doing, we're just trying to build the ecosystem so that everyone's working together and everyone has access. Our program might not be the best fit, right? You might not be to that stage yet. Nick's team can help you, maybe get ready for us or introduce you to other investors or other partnerships, but there's no competition here. We want everyone on this call throughout the state working together to get companies built here.
Totally. And Corey, I saw your question in the backstage too. You're asking if there's a recording. There is a recording. We will put it out. I know there was some issue with the live stream, which is a little bit crazy, but I saw you're off mute too. Do you have any questions, Corey?
No, I just wanted to introduce myself. Corey Yant, the founder of Dispension. We build high-tech beer vending machines. We have relocated our company to Nevada. We're based actually just on Highland Drive in downtown Las Vegas. So if anybody wants to come by and see some cool technology, we've got them there. We've also got them at Thomas and Mack. We've got a couple of units at South Shore and Spanish Trail as well. And we are ramping it up. So yeah, really happy to be here. We're actually from Eastern Canada. So weather's a little bit different, but I'm definitely enjoying the heat. And yeah, I've loved being in Vegas really since November, I guess. Yeah, would love to meet you guys in person at some point, and I'll definitely catch up on the recording.
That's awesome, man. Hey, welcome home, right? A little jump from Canada, a whole new land of the free.
Yeah, no, it's exciting.
Yeah, and for projects, for sure, drop them on Build Cities. You can drop it into Las Vegas if you want to and have it on there, because there's some other founders in the food and bev space I'd love to connect you to. And we just look for, in the same way Kyle was talking about it, we just look for synergies, man. And you can even put your office as a hub on there for Las Vegas if you want other founders to come by and crack a beer with you and hang out at your vending machines and play with your robots.
Yeah, we actually have 5 golf simulators over there as well. I don't know if you guys know Brian O'Reilly and the guys with Even Play. They're a golf software company, so they have 5 golf simulators. There's some bowling alleys, and yeah, there's a tiki bar. So it
love
is
this.
a pretty cool spot.
Dude,
if anybody,
let's make it a
that's
hub, man.
we could have an
All
event
that.
there actually. Like all jokes aside, at any point we could have an event there. They're used to hosting events, so I just have to like book it out, a week in advance. But it's a really great space to have like a social gathering. We did like a viewing party for the Golden Knights game. They just do a bunch of stuff. But yeah, it's 2575 Strip Club Row, but 2575 South Highland Drive.
And so, look, we can put it on here as a hub. So if you want to, all you got to do is click Add Hub on Build, and then you can drop the facilities on here. This is the building I'm in right now, and it's actually pretty rad. So you can upload photos. People can see it on the map, and then who are the members? So people that come by, any projects that people are working on inside of it, any events, classes. You have a whole event calendar. You have videos, and then any challenges. So you guys could do different like prize-based, bounty-based, like food and bev innovation challenges, and then host golf events. We would drive everybody and their mom there for an event in the Vegas community. I'll be out in Reno. Speaking of that too, coming up, I fly in tomorrow. I'll be there for the Playa Art preview at my property there, the Audi. And so if anybody's hanging in the Reno community, come on out and we'll hang out and go grab a run or walk, whatever, and talk about startups and building things.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, you let me know if they need a few beer vending machines up there. I heard they do.
It's crazy. We're working on a beer wall, but like, let's talk about beer vending machines. I don't know if have you seen the building yet?
No.
So it's the world's largest makerspace and innovation campus under one roof. It's 232,000 square feet. It's an old Lowe's, and this thing is a beast. And we've got a whole hall with a movie screen. Here, we kind of modeled some of it after this. There's like a movie screen right here that's pretty big, and a coffee shop. But this one has like a whole row of venues for restaurants and offices and big campus stuff. But yeah, we'd love to talk vending machine. I'll check out Dispension.
Yeah, please do. And I can forward you some information by email after the call. But, yeah, great to meet you.
Corey, are you guys raising, or where are you guys at?
Yeah, we are. We have a Series A. We actually were, and Shaq, maybe you want to put some earmuffs on, but we were led to believe that a company or a fund here was going to invest in us in the latter part of last year. And we actually relocated our company to be a Nevada-based company so that we'd be eligible for that investment. And they ended up ghosting us. So that was fun. But we've continued on our path, and like we're going gangbusters right now. We just signed some deals with the Denver Broncos and some other like the Ball Arena, which is in Denver with the Avalanche and the Nuggets. We have units at Dodger Stadium. We're signing a big deal with a major hotel chain. So yeah, we're really enjoying being here. But the reason why we came was because we were relocating for eligibility for some funding through 1864 actually. And we're talking with actually Battleborn and some other groups. So all that fell through. But we do have a Series A open. Since we were talking to these groups, we increased the valuation by 40% as well. So yeah, I mean the company's really doing well commercially. We're doing a 5 to 10 million round. Probably just need 5, but it looks like 10 might be available to us, and we're raising that at 20 US.
Okay, cool, great,
awesome. That's great, Corey. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, right on. Well, Kyle, it was awesome. Shaq, you just came off on screen finally. Like, do you have anything you want to say, or like just hi? Or,
No, nice to meet you, Corey. Yeah, Shaq Cruz. I'm with GoEd, Office of Entrepreneurship. So, down here in Vegas, representing the team. So glad to be on the call. Corey, great to meet. Yeah, I'll drop my email in the chat and, happy to connect. I feel like it's just so busy here in Vegas. You'd think with 110 degrees, it'd slow down a bit, but no, man, I think it's just the market's hot, the weather's hot. So happy to connect and keep things going. So nice to meet you. Cheers.
Cool.
Likewise.
Very cool. And Corey, I'm meeting with a guy who's down in Vegas right now. He lives down there, and then he lives up here too in Idaho. but he's very well heeled, like very, very well heeled. One of those folks, and has a lot to spend. No one really knows him as a venture guy, but he likes to invest. So if you want to send me the docs, be happy to connect it to him. This is kind of up his alley. He loves cigars, golf, drinking, and being a Vegas guy.
Our kind of guy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I'll shoot you an email, and Jack, I'll flip you a note too. We can connect offline.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Cool. Yeah. Nick at buildcities.com. Right on.
Okay. Great.
Cool. Kyle, appreciate you, man.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nick. And
That's a wrap.
Everyone, look forward to hearing from you. See ya.
See ya.
See you guys.
Bye.